Right now on Denver 7 News at 6 a.m., reflecting and rebuilding.
We're healing, and we're healing together.
1 year after the tragic King Soopers shooting, the Table Mesa store gets ready to reopen.
I'm Denver 7's Veronica Acosta. I spoke with community members about why this store's reopening is so important for their healing.
Plus, Denver approves millions more to help its homeless crisis, expanding its safe outdoor space program.
They were not designed to end street homelessness because they aren't big enough yet. There aren't enough of them yet, but they have reduced it.
But not everyone is convinced these sites are working.
There needs to be some sort of site-specific analysis that goes into determining where these sites are hosted.
And 6 years after winning Super Bowl MVP, former Bronco Von Miller talks about how he's getting ready for this next championship game.
I'm not planning to get an MVP. I'm not planning to do this or planning to do anything else. I'm planning to win the game with my brother.
Simple as that.
I know, and mindset certainly worked for him last time, so it would be nice to see him get a second ring. We'll see if he can do it. Good Tuesday morning to you. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Before we get to a Super Bowl Sunday, of course, we have the rest of this week to get through. Luckily, it's going to be a pretty nice one outside, Lisa.
It is, and wait till I show you our Super Bowl Sunday forecast, too. You've got some actually nice grilling weather in store this coming weekend. The winds have kicked up. We're tracking a weak system, a weak cold front that's going to roll through tomorrow, but look at some of these speeds, anywhere from 30 to about 40 miles per hour, but that's why we talked about those temperatures being so mild here along the Front Range. We're right now looking at 30s and even some 40s. It's about 15 to 20 degrees warmer than the same time yesterday. So as your kids are stepping out the door this morning, they can get away with just a jacket today. We're going to be at about 50 degrees by the time they get home this afternoon. Again, very mild. We saw a lot of melting yesterday. It was nice to turn some of that ice into slush. You could break it up on some of the driveways. And today a similar scenario. 47 for Boulder and Erie today. And in Denver, we're going to hit a high of 50. Now, fast forward to tomorrow afternoon. With this next weak system, there's a slight chance we could see a little light snow in the mountains, and 1 or 2 of those light snow showers could roll east. That's just the first of our weak storms this week. I'll show you the second one, too, coming up.
Before I talk what the winds are doing to the drive, I have an alert from RTD about the G line. They say due to a radio outage, the trains are going to be blowing their horns at crossings from Arvada Ridge to Ward Station, which include the crossings at Miller, Parfait, Robb, and Tabor. That'll be on the G line, the gold line going up to Arvada right now. So I want to go up to the foothills where we do have some of that blowing snow going across I-70. Let me take you to the camera right there by Floyd Hill, and you can see some of that blowing snow here across I-70, making it a little bit slick. Just saw some plows go through there trying to get some of that snow off of I-70, but do expect some slick conditions and those strong gusty winds just to the west. The rest of the drive looks just fine here across Metro Denver. No big issues for us. Take a look at 270. You can see from that camera some of the slower traffic on that eastbound side passing the refinery. The drive time reflects some of that slower, that congestion right now. Look at the map if you would, where you're looking at about just a couple extra minutes. But otherwise, a really good drive anywhere else you want to go.
Well, today we will get our first look inside the renovated King Soopers store in Boulder, where 10 people were killed in a shooting last March.
Tomorrow, that store will reopen, starting with the ceremony to honor the victims. So we're going in depth this morning with an update on the case today and the efforts to prevent future tragedies like this. But we want to start with Denver 7's Veronica Acosta, who is in Boulder this morning, hearing from people in the neighborhood around the store who are just glad to have their community gathering place back.
Well, on the outside, the Table Mesa King Soopers here in Boulder, it looks completely different than it did less than a year ago. But of course, it still means so much to so many of the people who live in this area. If you remember, we heard from so many nearly a year ago who said this was a huge gathering spot. Their kids stopped by after school to grab a quick snack. Parents, they greeted each other here during their everyday errands. And so many, again, people here excited to see those doors reopen, including those who work right across the street at the neighborhood library.
They're excited and looking forward to King Soopers opening because that was another place where the members of the community would go and see each other and say hello and greet each other. So I can't begin to explain how thrilled they are that we're healing and we're healing together, and the library is here to support them with that.
Shannon Kincaid, that's who you just heard from. She's the branch library manager here at George Reynolds. The library itself, it was closed when 10 people were killed at King Soopers nearly a year ago, but it did reopen late last year. And since then, Kincaid has been able to watch the rebuilding process day by day, getting a front row seat to community members walking by, also watching and waiting for their neighborhood grocery store to be open again.
It's just, I guess, a testament to the community of how like things get shattered and they slowly rebuild and come together again.
And neighbors who've been waiting for those doors to reopen, they get that chance to see that happen tomorrow. They're also going to get the opportunity to be a part of a ceremony here at the Table Mesa King Soopers as well. We're in Boulder this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Yeah, we know it's been a tough year, and so hopefully this will help in the rebuilding process and help them heal as well. Colorado passed 3 new laws in hopes of preventing another tragedy like the King Soopers shooting. One prevents people convicted of certain violent misdemeanors from being able to buy a gun. Another created a special agency under the state health department to make policy recommendations to reduce shootings, and the third allows local governments to pass stricter gun laws than the state laws. The accused shooter, meanwhile, is currently in a state hospital in Pueblo for treatment. He was found mentally incompetent to stand trial twice and has another hearing on March 15th to review his treatment. Neither prosecutors nor defense attorneys have said what his mental illness is.
We want to take a moment to remember the 10 people killed in the shooting. Denny Stong, Nevin Stanisic, Ricky Olds, Trelana Barkowiak, Suzanne Fountain, Terry Leiker, Officer Eric Talley, Kevin Mahoney, Lynn Murray, and Jody Waters. We have preserved stories from family and friends on our website, thedenverchannel.com, and the Denver 7 Plus app. You can read them anytime. An Arapahoe County Sheriff's deputy is expected to be okay after being hit by a car. This happened yesterday in Centennial near East Crest Hill Avenue and South St. Paul Way. Deputies were arriving to a call for an unwanted person at a home, but when they got there, the suspect allegedly ran down a deputy. Other deputies chased the driver, who crashed into a tree and was arrested.
The city of Denver is pouring millions more dollars into a homeless assistance program. This is for the Safe Outdoor Spaces program. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us live this morning. And Christian, this program hopes to help those who are living on the street transition into more stable housing.
Yeah, that's right. And the city is showing faith in that program by giving them almost $4 million in additional funding. This program, like you mentioned, helps people transition into more stable housing eventually. Now, it does put people in tents at its sites, fenced in with portable toilets, power, and Wi-Fi. The ultimate goal, getting them into stable housing. It is run by Colorado Village Collaborative, and it started back in December of 2020. Last year, they helped a total of 47 people get into more stable housing. We did speak with people who live in the Lincoln Park neighborhood, though. This is near one of the sites, and some say they're not opposed to the program, but they are concerned about where some of these sites are located.
To put 50 homeless people on one lot, I think there needs to be some sort of site-specific analysis that goes into determining where these sites are hosted.
There's some days I don't even come out of the house. I just feel like I'm trapped in there. Unless somebody comes out, then I'll come out.
The city is moving forward with the funding, but some people who live in that Lincoln Park neighborhood did file an appeal to get that site removed. This money, though, it is going to help the program operate a total of 4 sites and accommodate around 370 people who would otherwise be sleeping in tents, sidewalks, or in cars. Reporting live in Denver this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Christian. Aurora City Council will vote next week on a proposed camping ban. Mayor Mike Kaufman reintroduced the legislation last night. First tried to introduce a camping ban last summer, but it failed twice in City Council.
Tomorrow, Boulder County will host a second online community meeting for victims of the Marshall Fire. Officials tell us they will cover rebuilding-related topics for unincorporated Boulder County homes. The meeting is for residents, along with architects, builders, and design professionals. You can register for the meeting on the Boulder County Marshall Fire website. Many fire victims are finding out that filing a claim is not as easy as just calling your insurance company.
Yeah, tonight and Thursday, Adjusters International is hosting free seminars to help fire victims and hopefully answer some of their questions. And the advice is really good for any homeowner.
In the brush fire areas, the insurance company comes out and they give a certain percentage of money towards people's contents. And if you do nothing else, that's all the money you'll ever get. So you have to roll up your sleeves and write everything down and price it and present it to the insurance company. Otherwise, you could be leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars in your collection process.
Just some tedious work. You can find the classes on the website for Adjusters International and click on Newsroom there. Lisa.
It is now 6:10 and the winds are kicking up ahead of our next system. It's a weak storm that'll roll through on Wednesday. I'll show you where we could see a little bit of snow coming up, but it's going to be breezy, mild this morning and some upper 40s to low 50s again this afternoon. So a really pleasant wake up forecast. Right now, Jason, if you're near the foothills, you're already in the 40s because of those downslipping winds.
And you're also dealing with some blowing snow across some of those roadways as well. Over in Fort Collins, on the west side of Fort Collins, along Prospect at about Taft Hill or so, you can see it's dry right now. I'm not seeing any problems there across Fort Collins, but you might, again, to the west, have some issues with some of that blowing snow. But so far in Fort Collins and Greeley and up in Loveland, the drive looks pretty good.
Privacy concerns prompt the IRS to drop plans to make your records more secure.
Plus, an overnight Olympics update. A skater smashes a world record and Team USA medals in an event we never have before.